Recently, somebody asked me, how do millionaires make money? And I was like, And then another person was sharing their thoughts of how millionaires make money. It got me thinking about this episode. And I thought, well, this would be kind of fun. Common responses are they invest in stocks, bonds, they're entrepreneurs. What do people that have a $1 million net worth do differently than ones that have a 10 million or 100 million? Because let's face it, the level of thinking that gets us to $1 million net worth, meaning assets minus liabilities equals net worth, is very different than what gets us to a 10 million or even $100 million net worth. What if there was a formula you could apply or a career you could choose that will dramatically increase your odds of becoming a fulfilled millionaire on your terms? Well, get ready, my friends, because today I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you how. Hi, my name is Annette Ba'u, your host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of the Millionaire Insider. For over 30 years, I have been advising and researching the top 1% of millionaires, and I am passionately obsessed with money, mindset, and the intersection of self-worth and net worth, and how the two connect and allow us to live fulfilled and wealthy lives on our terms. I'm a Midwestern girl who had a dream, began investing $25 a month 35 years ago, and today have a multi-million-dollar net worth. I teach the tried and true that only someone with over 3 decades of experience advising millionaires would know. This podcast is different about much more than money. We talk about mindset, success, money blocks, worth barometer, and all aspects of money and topics from practical manifestation, along with real-world how-to and everything in between, with the goal of making your journey easier and more fun. Think of this as coffee, actually matcha tea, learning real-world common sense money and life advice from a BFF that you can start applying today. If you want to create a financially free life you love, you are in the right place, my friend. This is the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. Today's free resource is our Financial Freedom Formula Guide. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/FFG. You're going to love this resource. It literally provides you an overview of what you need to do so that you can create a fulfilled and financially free life you love. You're going to learn the wealth and mindset insights that people who achieve financial freedom have. Most people have a concern if they're going to have enough money in retirement. That is, if they're paying attention to it. This resource is going to show you how to create a plan and the steps you need to know things are taken care of, and you can stop worrying about money and start enjoying your life. So again, themillionaireinsider.com/FFG. For today's show notes, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/35. All materials and intellectual property are copywritten by themillionaireseries.com. The information we provide is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide you any investment, financial, tax, retirement, or any planning or healthcare advice. All participants agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. So today we're diving into the big picture of how most millionaires make money and build wealth. What is the average gross income of millionaires? Because a lot of people have misconceptions of that. You got to understand too, on a side note, becoming a millionaire does not mean you make $1 million. In fact, very few millionaires do, because most people are more focused on the accumulation of wealth, reinvesting their money as compared to taking it out and spending it. So important. It probably takes you about 3 million to 5 million to amass $1 million net worth. A lot of people do not understand that. So I just want to clarify that. We're also going to dive into insight on becoming a decamillionaire. That's somebody that has a $10 million net worth, and then a centimillionaire. People refer to them as super rich. The bottom line is they have a net worth above 100 million. They have money. You're also going to learn why my goal changed from wanting to be a centimillionaire to instead focusing on being a decamillionaire. Powerful insight. Most millionaires make their money in a variety of ways, meaning there's not really a one size fits all. That said, a millionaire is someone who has accumulated $1 million or more in assets. In the past, your personal residence was excluded from that. Because the real estate market has gone so crazy, many experts are now including the value of a person's personal residence when calculating their net worth. You just got to decide. If you do include it, then you're going to be being more aggressive. If you don't include it, you're more conservative. Ideally, you have $1 million outside of just your residence, but if that's not the case, then you may want to include it. Now, there are career choices that dictate where on the spectrum of millionaire you're likely going to be landing. One of the things, as I mentioned, that most people don't understand is they think that wealthy people have higher gross incomes. They don't. In fact, the average is like 77,000, and maybe it's grown a little bit, but it's not a lot because they are reinvesting their money. We're much more focused on the accumulation of wealth than we are on the income we can earn and spend. Rich people, on the other hand, who have high incomes and generally high debt, including credit card debt, are often not millionaires. And they might be a millionaire in theory because they live in $1 million house, but when you take the liabilities out, they're not. One of the most common ways in which millionaires make money is being an entrepreneur. They start and they grow a business. The key here is to follow your passion. You're going to be spending a lot of time doing this. So you got to choose something you enjoy. Now, my youngest son is a sophomore in college and he's majoring in chemical engineering. Right now, he's in organic chemistry, doing very well. He has an A in there. I'm so proud of him. And he loves it. He's explaining it to me. I'm like, oh, I want to understand. And I'm like, oh my God, like it's like my brain's exploding. But it's fascinating to learn fundamentals of chemistry. It's fascinating to me because he loves it. He's interested in it. He has a passion for it, and it makes me excited. But I'm also reminded that I got my BS in finance. And because I didn't take chemistry in high school, I was one of those business majors that had to take remedial chemistry. And I got a B, and I've never been so happy in my life. And I never want to take another chemistry class as long as I live. It's just funny because we were having a conversation. I said, you got to just figure out what you're going to be doing in your career and make sure you love it because you're going to be spending a lot of time doing that. So take the time to figure out what you want. Choose a career that's going to work for you and your passion. And I said, like me, I love what I do and I'm so blessed and I'm doing something I love. I want you to do that too. I hope that you get that and you apply it also in your life. One of the things I often hear from people, and I find this fascinating, is that they want to be an entrepreneur because they don't want an 8 to 5. Well, I just want to tell you that there are a lot of struggling and broke entrepreneurs, but if you want to be a millionaire entrepreneur, you're not an 8 to 5. You're like a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So you got to get really clear on that. It's not like you're going to be making a lot of money if you're not putting in the time, especially early in your career. You got to understand that the entrepreneurial journey requires a long-term focus. It's more like a marathon. It's a commitment for 15, 20-year commitment before you start reaping the rewards. A lot of people want it to be a 100-yard dash, and rarely is it. But when you have a passion for what you're doing, it doesn't feel like you're working. You can then make the money and do what you want to. It's really important that you understand that if you can't make money at what you're doing, that's called a hobby, not a career. So you got to differentiate the two. Another way that millionaires make money is investing in stocks, bonds, real estate. Typically, what you're going to find is that one of the major advantages of millionaires, especially when it comes to stocks, is they benefit from compounding returns, meaning compound interest. And I will link to that in the show notes because compound interest is so important because that's when you're earning money not just on the principal, but also on the interest. And over time, it's just exponential. It's so important that you understand that. Sometimes they invest in startups, venture capital, and even private equity. In higher interest rate environments, many millionaires will invest their money in certificates of deposit, which are also known as CDs. Some of the real estate options people can invest in, and millionaires also are things such as REITs, which are real estate investment trusts. But most millionaires are invested in actual real estate, whether it's rentals, commercial properties, residential properties, or even raw land. You got to understand that real estate, and especially raw land, can be really high risk. Some even invest in syndications. They can also be really risky. So you've got to make sure you have significant cash flow. You've got to have money for property taxes, liability insurance, and HOA. I'll just share from the 2 lots we own, it's costing us over $10,000 a year, and we have no income coming in from it. So you got to be aware of it. I've met so many people over the course of my career who've invested in rentals, namely, when they weren't able to rent it out, they didn't have the cash flow to pay the mortgage, and they ended up going bankrupt. So don't let that be you. As far as a perspective of investing in the stock market, you just want to make sure that you've done the research. Ideally, you're working with a qualified advisor. You can earn significant yields, and over time, that money grows. But you want to make sure that you've got somebody that's qualified so you can determine if it's appropriate for you to invest in stocks, in mutual funds, or exchange traded funds known as ETFs or other vehicles. There are a lot of choices, and it's imperative that you determine your risk to determine what's best for you to invest in. Some millionaires earn their money through professional careers. They have high-paying careers in fields like medical, law, technology, finance, and even entertainment. These careers may involve earning substantial salaries, bonuses, and even equity, like in the case of a startup or some corporations. But many of these people are rich, meaning they have high incomes and they have high spending, but very low net worths. They're not wealthy. They don't have a high net worth. Wealthy people have high net worths and typically lower incomes. We're much more focused on accumulating money than we are in spending it. They also generate income from multiple sources, such as guaranteed income, like a guaranteed annuity, which is my absolute favorite. If you're not familiar with annuities or how it can help you in retirement, I'll link to the article on the different types of annuities for retirement in the show notes. But they also may get monies from royalties, from books, music, patents, licensing their intellectual property, as well as other passive and residual income streams of revenue that continue to generate money. I like guaranteed annuities is because it's guaranteed. It's not going to be subject to the market volatility, things like that. Another thing they do is they create and follow a spending plan, even once they've accumulated wealth. That fits me and my husband perfectly. We pay attention to our bottom line. One of my friends and I were at happy hour, and one of her neighbors came with us. I said something about, gosh, it cost $100. And she's giving me grief. Like, what does it matter to you? It cost $100. And my friend chimed in and she said, that's why we're wealthy, is because we pay attention to those things. That's what I want you to understand. And then a lot of them inherit money. This may be from a partner. It may be that they married someone wealthy, or they inherit money from a relative or parents or something like that. Let's first of all look at someone who has accumulated $1 million. My research shows that a lot of those people have careers in the medical profession, law profession, or other higher paying jobs. If they do have a career that's maybe not even one of those, they are really focused on living frugally. They often are very focused on investing in their 401k plan or other retirement available to them. They are very focused on saving and investing and reinvesting as much money as they can. That's one group, and that is one mindset. The next group, which are decamillionaires who have a net worth of over 10 million, the focus is more on real estate and stocks, things that can appreciate. Now, I don't want you to start going out and buying real estate and stocks until you have consulted with a qualified advisor. In the show notes, I will give you a link if you do need more support, but you got to be really careful if you're investing in stocks. I've spent about 30 years investing in real estate and stocks, and I will say they go up and they go down, and you have got to be prepared for that. Not everyone should be investing in real estate and stocks. And if you are in the first camp where you've accumulated $1 million or maybe even $5 million, you may be better off in mutual funds. You've got to be aware of that, and you've got to have somebody qualified helping you with that. And then the final group are centimillionaires. They have a net worth of over 100 million. The vast majority of them have built a company and then sold it. So again, this is my research, and it's also some research I found from looking just to see what other people were saying. But that's been what I have seen over my career. My ultimate goal had been to be a centimillionaire. It had actually been to earn 100 million. And as I share in one of the episodes, 4 lessons learned from a centimillionaire, and I'll link to that in the show notes. I shared with one of my clients who was a centimillionaire that I wanted to earn $100 million. And he literally laughed in my face and said, that is the dumbest goal I've ever heard. I was like 24. I was like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. And he said, you don't want to earn 100 million. You want to accumulate 100 million. So that became my goal. But then I started working with clients who had $100 million net worth. And I just started seeing a gap in a lot of their lives where their focus was so much on money. And it wasn't on family. It wasn't on a lot of other things that, to me, I didn't want to just have money. I wanted to have a fulfilled life. That's when I then changed my goal. And I said, okay, I'd be better off focusing on becoming a decamillionaire than a centimillionaire. There's not a right or a wrong, but you just got to make sure that whatever it is you want, you're looking at the big picture and not just the money. Let's look at some final tips on how millionaires make money and create wealth. 1, they hire a great team of advisors. This includes a qualified financial advisor, including somebody who focuses in on wealth management. Now, not all wealth managers are good financial planners, so you got to clarify that. Most financial planners do wealth management, but not necessarily vice versa. They also have CPA, somebody who specializes in taxes, and attorney or attorneys, depending on where they are and what they need. They set short and long-term financial goals. You've got to focus on growing your money, and that is what they do. And then you've got to determine what a fulfilled life looks like to you and then start making it a reality today. Even if you don't have everything you want, what can you do? What can you do with the house you currently have, with the car you currently have? Let's recap how millionaires make money and create wealth. It's essential to understand that becoming a millionaire takes time, discipline, and sound financial planning with a qualified financial advisor. Now, success in any area of building wealth requires that you are able to look at market conditions, economic trends, as well as situations that occur in your life. And based on those, make adjustments. If you're able to do that, great. If not, then you got to hire somebody that can help you. There's no guarantee that any of these methods are going to make you wealthy or make you a millionaire, but I can guarantee you that by creating a plan and executing on it, regardless of how you feel in the moment, you're going to dramatically increase your odds of a brighter financial future and retirement. And that, my friends, makes it so worth it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. It's just fascinating when you start thinking about how people have made their money and what different levels do differently. So on that note, I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you love the content of this podcast, please follow and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of episodes, and also give us a 5-star review and share a comment. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on taking another step to create a financially free life you love. If you're not sure about your financial future or that it's in order, or you are ready to stop worrying about money, or possibly the fear of becoming a bag lady, ending up broke in retirement, or you simply are ready to know your financial house is in order so that you can have a bright financial future, please go to themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. And that doesn't stand for non-sufficient funds. It stands for Next Step Finance. It's the next best step of what you need to do so you can avoid an NSF notice in your future. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. The number of women who were not broke or poor while working or married is staggering. The entire mission of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast is to ensure you have the information for you, your family, your friends, anyone who's willing to listen to it and apply it so that you can create a financially free life you love. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. I want to thank you so much for joining me on How Millionaires Make Money and Create Wealth. I'm Annette Ba'u, host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. All international copyrights are reserved. Bye for now.